When my 17-year-old daughter, Grace, was told she couldn't attend my sister's wedding, I didn't argue. I didn't beg for an exception or try to reason with anyone. Instead, I simply said, "We won't be attending." And that was it. My name is Emily Miller. I'm 39 years old, a nurse practitioner in Vermont, and I've been Grace's mom since she was just 3 years old. From the moment she entered my life, she had those wide, observant eyes that seemed to study every corner of the room, as if deciding whether this world was safe. She spoke very little in the beginning, choosing silence over words, almost like she was testing whether she could trust what she saw. The first time she called me Mom, I cried alone in my car after preschool drop-off. Such a small word, yet it meant the world. From that moment, I made her a promise. She would never feel unwanted again. I thought I was keeping that promise, until the day of Ashley's wedding. My younger sister, Ashley, had gotten engaged the previous spring. She made it into a spectacle, an oversized diamond ring, a dramatic announcement, an Instagram caption that could have been copy-pasted from a bridal magazine. Of course, I congratulated her. And Grace went even further. She handmade a card, decorated it with glitter and paper bells, and filled it with careful handwriting. Ashley smiled politely, said, "That's sweet," and tossed it in the back seat of her car. Weeks later, I found it crushed beneath a fast food wrapper. But Grace didn't lose hope. She stayed excited, scrolling through dresses online, asking whether she should wear her hair up or down, wondering if she could help decorate the reception hall. She was nervous, but mostly, she was hopeful. Then came the invitation, a thick, glossy envelope with gold trim. I opened it at the kitchen counter while Grace worked on her homework at the table. The card listed all the usual details: date, time, dress code. But then my eyes froze on one line: adults only. 18 and over, strictly enforced. No exceptions. I read it again and again. Grace noticed my expression and asked softly, "She doesn't want me there, does she?" I steadied my voice. "It just says 18 and over." My hands, however, trembled as I set the invitation down. She was quiet for a long moment. Then, in a tired, flat tone, she asked, "Is it because I'm adopted?" That question cut me open. She didn't ask it with tears or anger. She asked it like she had carried it in her chest for years. I whispered, "No, absolutely not." But in my heart, I knew exactly why she asked. And I knew she wasn't wrong. This wasn't the first time Grace had been made to feel like an outsider. It rarely came in obvious ways. No shouting. No name-calling. Instead, it was subtle. Tiny cuts, small dismissals, comments that others might not notice but she always felt. My mother often called her Emily's girl instead of using her name. It seemed harmless on the surface, but to Grace it meant she wasn't their granddaughter, just mine. Ashley had her phrases too. She would say things like, "Your daughter," in conversations, as though Grace were the neighbor's child tagging along instead of her niece. At first I told myself it was unintentional, that they just needed time. But the pattern kept repeating, clearer each year. I remember one family dinner in detail. Grace walked into the kitchen carrying a plate of vegetables, eager to help. No one acknowledged her. Not a single "thanks," "honey," or "just put that here." She stood there, frozen in silence, until she eventually set the dish near the sink and stepped back, invisible. On Easter, every grandchild had a basket decorated with their names. Grace's basket simply read "Happy Spring." She smiled politely, pretending not to notice. But I saw her eyes, and I knew she had. The first time she showed real disappointment was over a drawing. She had sketched a portrait of our family, me, her, and Daniel, surrounded by hearts and colors. She proudly gave it to my mother, who said, "Thank you," placed it on the table, and moved on. Later, Grace asked why it wasn't on the fridge like her cousin's pictures. I had no answer. The dismissals continued. At 6, she told my father she wanted to be an artist. He chuckled and said, "Better pick something more practical." At 8, when she tried to help plan a family gathering, Ashley brushed her off with, "That's cute," but let the adults handle it. None of it was loud or cruel. But it was constant. Persistent enough that Grace began to hesitate before speaking. Persistent enough that she learned how to smile while feeling invisible. I thought I could fix it by including my family in her life, by bringing them to her birthdays, her plays, her milestones, but the truth became undeniable. The more they saw her, the more obvious it was they didn't see her as theirs. Deep down, I think they believed she was temporary, that someday I'd have a real child, and Grace would just become a memory. They never said it outright. They didn't have to. So when that wedding invitation arrived with its polished adults-only stamp, it wasn't about rules. It was about drawing a line, a declaration. She doesn't belong with us. I didn't call Ashley. I didn't explain. I just logged into the RSVP website and clicked not attending. No notes. No apologies. The next morning, Ashley texted me, "Hey, I saw your RSVP. Is everything okay?" Then again, later, "If this is about the age rule, I hope you understand. We're being consistent with everyone. Nothing personal." But it was personal. Grace wasn't a coworker's kid. She wasn't a distant cousin. She was Ashley's niece, my daughter. 17, almost 18. She had chosen a dress, asked about hairstyles, poured love into a handmade card. She was ready. And now, all of that was brushed aside as nothing personal. I stayed silent. That afternoon, Hannah messaged me. "Megan said you're not coming. What's going on?" Then came the phone call from my mom. She rarely called, so I picked up with dread. "Emily," she said, "I heard you're not coming to the wedding. Is this really about the age limit?" "Yes," I answered. "Grace wasn't invited. She's nearly 18. I won't go without her." There was a pause. Then my mother said, "Well, she's not a little kid. She's family." I waited, hoping for more, for an apology, for acknowledgement, but nothing came. Finally, she added, "Don't punish your sister over this. It's just one night." I told her firmly, "We're not going." And I hung up. I thought that would end it. But then the group chat lit up. "Hannah, you're blowing this out of proportion. You always have to cause drama." "Ashley, this isn't about Grace. You're making it about her." My mom, a long paragraph about forgiveness, unity, and how hard it was to be in the middle. Meanwhile, Grace deleted the photos of dresses from her phone. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just erased them quietly, as though she had expected this all along. And that was what broke me. Not the invitation. Not the texts, but her reaction. The fact that she wasn't surprised, because deep down she already knew. The wedding passed. No one mentioned Grace. No one apologized. Life just went on, as though nothing had happened. But when December rolled around, I made a choice. Every year, I hosted Christmas. The cooking, the cleaning, the endless chairs and tables. I carried the weight of holding everyone together. Not this year. I didn't decorate. I didn't send invitations. When Daniel asked if he should order extra chairs, I shook my head. No extra seats this year. By mid-December, the messages began. "Hannah, are we still doing Christmas Eve at your place? What should I bring? Ashley, we'll be 5 again. Let me know if Grace wants anything special, if she's even going to be there this time." That line nearly crushed me, as though Grace had chosen to skip the wedding. As though her exclusion had been her fault. I didn't reply. The calls followed. My mom, then Hannah, then Ashley. I ignored them all until finally my dad left a voicemail. "Emily, we just want to know what's going on. Your mother's upset. It's not too late to do the right thing." But to me, the right thing wasn't hosting people who had excluded my daughter. So that Christmas, it was just us. We stayed in pajamas, baked messy sugar cookies, made lasagna instead of turkey. Daniel poured hot chocolate piled with marshmallows. Grace laughed when the marshmallows sank into the mugs. We ate at the coffee table. We opened gifts early. We watched movies until late at night. No forced smiles. No side comments. No silence when Grace walked in. It was quiet. Not empty quiet. Peaceful quiet. And in that peace, I realized something I had ignored for too long. I had confused tradition with love. I thought hosting meant belonging, but love had nothing to do with obligation. That Christmas showed me the truth. Peace isn't when nothing seems wrong. Peace is when nothing is being ignored. A few days later, snow still covered the ground outside. Grace was on the couch, sketchbook open on her lap, blanket wrapped around her. Drawing was her language when words weren't enough. I was folding laundry when she paused, pencil hovering, and asked softly, "Mom, if I wasn't adopted, do you think they'd like me more?" The laundry slipped from my hands. My chest tightened. I sat beside her. "Sweetheart," I said gently, "maybe they would have pretended better. But how they treat people who are different, that was never about you. That's about them." She lifted her eyes, those same wide, serious eyes she had carried since the day I met her. Eyes that seemed older than her years. "I don't think I want them to like me anymore," she said. Her voice wasn't bitter. It wasn't angry. It was calm. Final. Like she had made a choice to stop chasing the approval of people who would never truly see her. And in that moment, I understood. For years, I believed patience and kindness would change things. I believed if I smiled enough, stayed small enough, peace would come. But my daughter was braver than I was. She had drawn a line I had been too afraid to mark. And if she had the strength to protect her own heart, then I had no excuse left. That night, after she fell asleep, I sat in the glow of the Christmas lights and finally made a promise to myself. No more waiting. No more shrinking. No more excuses for people who couldn't see her worth. Days later, my phone lit up with my father's name. I let it ring. Then came his text. "Your mother isn't sleeping. She feels like she's losing you. We know we made mistakes, but that doesn't mean you should shut everyone out. That's not who you are." I stared at it for a long time. For years, I had asked myself that same question. Was I too harsh? Too sensitive? But the truth had become clear. This was who I was. Someone who had stopped tolerating the intolerable. Someone who knew her daughter's dignity was worth more than anyone's comfort. Then came the voice message from Ashley. Sweet tone, careful wording, but beneath it all, sharp as glass. "It's sad, Emily. You've always said how much you love Grace, but now it feels like you're using her as a shield. Like whenever someone doesn't treat her like royalty, you cut them off. That's not healthy. That's not parenting. That's obsession." I deleted the message. Then I blocked her number. Because if loving my daughter fiercely without apology, if choosing her every single time, if that's what obsession looks like, then yes, I am obsessed. Obsessed with showing her she belongs. Obsessed with protecting her from ever mistaking tolerance for acceptance. Obsessed with ensuring she never again feels like she has to earn love. I regret many things. The holidays I hosted for people who ignored her. The birthdays she smiled through while others barely noticed. The thank yous she gave to people who didn't deserve them. But I will never regret closing that door. Gently, quietly, but permanently. Because this isn't about revenge. It isn't about punishing anyone. It's about love. The kind of love that doesn't shrink. The kind that says, you matter, always. The new year arrived without fanfare. No fireworks, no shouting, no clinking glasses. Just me, Daniel, and Grace sitting near the fireplace while snow drifted outside. Grace had gotten a board game for Christmas. We couldn't figure out the rules, so we made up our own. We laughed until tears filled our eyes. For the first time in years, I wasn't bracing myself for the next comment, the next silence, the next sting I'd have to smooth over. I wasn't holding my breath. I was breathing freely. Relief washed over me. Relief that I didn't have to chase apologies. Relief that I didn't have to keep proving Grace belonged. Relief that I could stop mistaking noise for connection. That night, I realized something important. Family isn't supposed to feel like walking on eggshells. It isn't supposed to feel like you're auditioning for love. Family should feel like rest. And for the first time, I felt it. Looking back, I can see all the times I should have spoken louder. All the chances I missed to defend Grace. But healing rarely comes with grand speeches. It comes with small, steady choices. Saying no, choosing silence over pretending, closing the door. Grace's question still echoes. Would they like me more if I wasn't adopted? The weight of it still breaks me, but her answer is what I hold on to. I don't think I want them to like me anymore. That wasn't anger. That was clarity. And if you've ever been where I've been, caught between peace and pretending, I want you to know, it's okay to choose peace. It's okay to walk away. It's okay to protect your child, your heart, your home, even if others call it selfish. Because love that asks you to disappear is not love. If this story touched you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Maybe a parent who feels guilty for setting boundaries. Maybe someone who has waited too long for their family to change. Let them know they aren't alone. And if you've stood your ground for someone you love, tell us your story in the comments. We'd love to hear it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, sometimes silence is the loudest truth you can give.